Good morning. This is becoming dangerous now. The trade war rhetoric that is being escalated into public policy and actual legislation. DJI is a Chinese company and is the world's largest manufacturer of drones, with 70% of the global market share, and they have at least 70% of the US market, and it may be as high as 90%. And about 90% of all the drones that are used in the United States for public safety by police and fire departments and by search and rescue teams, those drones are also from DJI. The US House of Representatives just voted to ban the sale of DJI drones across the US market. And this is very likely to become law when the Senate holds their votes. It's called the Countering CCP Drones Act, and it was written into the National Defense Authorization Act for the next fiscal year. The NDAA is a giant law that authorizes all the spending for the Defense Department, the Pentagon, and national security spending. And it's unlikely that anyone in Washington is going to stand in the way of this restriction on DJI if it's written into the NDAA. It's probably going to happen, in other words. Chinese SOEs own 6% of DJI stock. So some of our officials conclude that this opens up the possibility of Chinese government surveillance and access. They also add here, of course, DJI is making a lot of money, and that is also helpful to the Chinese economy. So this act was fully passed by the House of Representatives. Now we're waiting on the Senate and for the President's signature. And it's similar to lots of other bans and tariffs against Chinese companies that are selling in the US market. DJI is just the latest in a long string of Chinese companies that are being singled out by Washington policymakers and administration officials who are using national defense and national security arguments to keep Chinese products out of the market. This is almost a slam dunk to pass, though, because this is one thing that Republicans and Democrats managed to agree on. So Washington, D.C. and the Pentagon want to ban DJI drones, but the people who need them to do their jobs are fighting back. Police force in Lawrence, Kansas has 20 DJI drones along with other Chinese-made models. They use them to find missing kids and catch bad guys. We just want the best technology at the best price, and US-built drones haven't caught up yet with Chinese ones. Mr. Carr here is from the Association of Police Officers Who Use Drones, and he says the American drone makers are coming along, but their supply chains are weak. US drones are hard to get, and buyers need to wait up to 5 months. DJI drones are on the shelf right now, ready to buy. The CEO of a drone maker in Florida admits that American companies are not yet ready to meet the demand if DJI goes away, but suggests that it's something we need to do in order to heal faster and get on with things. I think that's what he's saying anyway. And Florida passed a law last year that banned the sale of DJI drones. And Miami-Dade police bought 5 US-made drones, which do not have the same capabilities as the ones that were replaced. Kyle Nordfors is a search and rescue guy in Utah, and he did an experiment with the Wall Street Journal. A few weeks ago, he successfully led a rescue operation in the Wasatch Mountains using a drone by DJI to locate missing hikers. He simulated what he did that day, but instead used a US-built drone. But this one didn't even make it to the top of the mountain before the radio lost signal and the drone returned to him. He has tested dozens of drones in the mountains. He concludes that DJIs are the best, and if the law passes in Washington, he won't be able to find missing hikers and climbers. Backpackers and hikers know that if they get lost, guys like Kyle here are down there looking for them, but he needs DJI drones to do his job. He can't find you if his Silicon Valley built drone can't even make it up the mountain you're on. Other drone users complain that American drones can't fly far enough, their cameras and radios aren't as good, and they cost 5 times as much as Chinese drones. US drone makers say that it's a volume problem, that when more people buy their drones, they can afford to build more of them and the price will fall. I think that's what they're saying anyway. Here is a tell as to where we might be headed from here. The Secret Service is a federal agency, and they bought 20 DJI drones a couple of years ago. The Secret Service is a group responsible for protecting the president and former presidents and candidates for president and former presidents who are candidates for president. So Donald Trump is 3 out of 4 of those things, and for some reason the Secret Service did not bring one of these drones along to Trump's speech in Pennsylvania. The Secret Service did not bring any of their drones the day the president was shot, and they even declined the offer from local police to use some of theirs. Now, this is a huge mistake they will not be making again, hopefully anyway. And so the Secret Service and the other federal agencies are still going to be allowed to buy the best drones that are on the market. The Pentagon will also get a waiver from their own law, the same way they get a waiver every year to rip Huawei gear out of their communications systems. The law says that they cannot use Huawei, another NDAA, but they cannot find inexpensive replacements for Huawei that work nearly as well, so they just exempt themselves from the law that they wanted. That will happen here too with DJI. If you need a drone to look for fire hazards on the roofs of buildings, or to spot forest fires, or you need them to find people who are hurt or lost in remote areas, you will not be able to buy drones from DJI. Or if you need a good drone to find victims of earthquakes, or landslides, or avalanches, or floods, you won't be able to buy one. And if you're the victim, nobody will be able to find you. This is Sichuan Bana, Hunan Province. Be good.
His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be opened to you.